Hello, my name is Victoria Larsen, COO of Diva Talent, Production, and Event. Welcome to the GEMS Talk. Today, we have a very special guest with us, a respected leader who has spent more than 2 decades building and growing networking communities around the world. In today's conversation, we'll be discussing the philosophy behind Givers Gain, the challenges and lessons from building BNI communities, what makes a chapter truly successful, and how initiatives like the BNI GEMS Talk help strengthen our network even further. Welcome to the GEMS Talk, Bijay.
Thank you, Victoria. Pleasure to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here. You've spent more than 20 years building networking communities. What first attracted you to BNI and the power of structured networking?
Just like our members, I also, in my previous life prior to BNI, I did something which required me to generate referrals. I was a financial planner. This is back in the UK. And when it comes to doing something like that, financial advisor, financial planner, a lot of the business that you generate is word of mouth. It literally is referrals and word of mouth. If you speak to anybody in the service industry, especially people in medical, lawyers, legal, financial, these are all what I call high trust professions. And anything which is high trust requires somebody to put in a word or it's a referral, right? So when I joined the company I was working for in London, a lot of my peers said, Bijay, you need to be part of BNI. So that's when I first came to know about BNI. I went to a couple of meetings, and just like it is in all parts of the world, we only allow one person in every trade and profession. So I went to these couple of chapters. I couldn't join because my profession was already taken. And I just never got a chance to be a member, but I knew that there was value in this. And then a couple of years after first discovering BNI, I found myself, both my wife and I, found ourselves in Dubai. We were looking to settle in over here. I was headhunted by one of the boutique firms, and I didn't know anybody. Both of us, we didn't know anybody. We came in here just knowing one person, and I knew that I needed to network. So that's when the whole idea about BNI popped up again, and long story short, the idea was to just start it as a side hustle. But here we are today, 21 years later, with an amazing community that we've built. But it started with the need that we had. And, it's worked. It's fantastic.
That's quite the journey. And I'm curious, did you have any challenges when building the community in the UAE?
The biggest challenge in those days, so you're looking at 2005 when we first launched, the kind of people we first attracted weren't necessarily business owners. Even today, look, it's anybody who is there to grow the business. So you could be the founder or the owner of the business. You could be a senior sales manager or sales director, anybody who's in charge of growing the company, right? But you're an employee, and you may not be 100% in charge of the decisions or in control of, all of those kind of things. So we attracted a lot of people who I would say were transient in nature. So they're here for maybe a few years, and then they move on. They move on to another, employer. They move out of the country. So the challenge really was finding stability. People, who are here to stay. People who kind of. So typically, you'd find that in business owners. They're building a business. That business is going to stay. So that was one challenge. The other challenge was you need a team. If you look at our structure, it's not just the members in the chapters. You're a member, you know this. So the model of BNI is based on having what we call leadership team members, direct consultants to support all these chapters. As you're scaling up, we needed a team, and all of us were new. So that takes a little bit of time. It's identifying the right talent, the right skill set, and these are all volunteers doing this, voluntary. They all have their own businesses to run. So those were the kind of challenges, but we've overcome those. And today, yeah, it's very vibrant, no issues.
That's truly incredible. I mean, BNI has also grown exponentially, and I mean, it's thanks to you and of course the great team that you've created, all working together. And
It is a team. It is a team. I can't take
yeah.
any of this credit. It is absolutely the team.
Yeah. And I mean, as a BNI member, it's been incredible for me as well. Within my chapter, BNI GEMS, but also going cross chapters.
Yes.
It's so, there's so many people that you can connect with.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the beauty of it.
Yes. So that comes from a place of, the giver's gain, of course. That's a philosophy, and having a mindset of abundance. So whenever you go into a BNI meeting, whether it's your own chapter, if you go into another chapter, everybody's out there to help each other and support each other. You don't feel like an outsider or a stranger. The moment you introduce yourself as a fellow BNI member, a whole barrier comes down and you're like part of one big family, right? And then of course it's about building those relationships. But we're very blessed. We operate in a relatively small city when we compare ourselves to where BNI operates in other parts of the world. And in that relatively small geography, when we have 40 plus chapters, over 1,500 members, it's pretty cool.
It's incredible, and it grows.
It does.
All the time. And you mentioned giver's gain,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually wanted to delve deeper into that. For those who don't know what giver's gain is, can you explain that?
Yeah, look, I mean, we've coined it as giver's gain in the way we do things, but it's human nature. I mean, it applies pretty much in a lot of different cultures. The more you give, the more you get back, or what you do unto others comes back to you. What we've done in BNI is, our founder, Dr. Ivan Meisner, he saw the power in that, and he said, look, as human beings, when you're out there and you see somebody who needs help, we are naturally wired to help others. But when it comes to business, the whole capitalist society and the whole model is about survival of the fittest. That's where the whole competition comes in, right? So if anybody is relatively new in business, they don't have that sort of mindset, they'll always be very close and protective. Whereas, we believe, look, if you can share and you can help others, I mean, what better way to grow your business where you got a whole team of people, everybody's looking out for each other, and everybody feels good and safe doing that. That's a giver's gain. A lot of people relate it to just referrals. That's where it starts. When you join a chapter, you're looking to grow your business, and you're told, okay, why don't you see how many other people that you can probably give referrals to, and then you'll get referrals back in return. But it's more than that. It's about giving your time, giving your expertise. So when somebody rises up to a leadership position in the chapter, that's giver's gain, because they're giving their time. Do we pay them? No, but they get that increased visibility. There is personal development for them, and as a result, they become a better leader, a better business person. So giver's gain is not just referrals. It transcends, starting from referrals all the way right to the top. If you look at a lot of people out there who are successful, and I'm talking about people in business, people, you speak to anybody and you'll see, if you come to know about their journey, there will be an element where they believe in the power of giving, and that's what really make them the success that they are.
Thank you so much for explaining that, and I completely agree with you. I think that's also the beauty of BNI. You have these core values,
Mm-hmm.
giver's gain being, and then a positive outlook, lifelong learning. And it's not just about business, it's also relatable to real life as well, which is incredible. I mean, as you said, character development.
Yes.
So, and another thing that I find which is so fascinating is how there is only one person from each industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this lack of less survival and more about learning about each other, and there's less competition in that sense, but
To a certain extent, and I think it's about diversity.
yes.
If you have different people doing different things and everybody comes together, you just don't know who knows who, right?
True.
Typically, people will be within their circles, within their industry. But you go to, I mean, you're a member, you get to do one-to-ones, you get to build relationships with members in your chapter, and you learn so many different things. You don't get that anywhere else. Just think about it, right? You'll have somebody who makes chocolates or somebody who does some printing. I met somebody this morning who designs things, in terms of apparel. So you'll meet people in all different walks of life with different experiences, young and old. And you're building relationships, getting to know them. Over time, you're going to become pretty good at so many different things in terms of a subject matter expert. You go to a party, you go to an event, you meet somebody, you can easily have a conversation no matter where they're coming from or what kind of industry or what they're from. Because you'll have some idea, even if it's something technical, we are here doing a podcast. You'll meet enough people where you can actually start talking about the technical things about voice and AV and stuff, because you got somebody in your chapter educating you about that sort of stuff, right? So that's the joy, that's the fun of being part of a group, which is not just business, it is relationships. And if you're curious about learning, there's so much more out there.
Oh, that's so true. I've only been there for almost a year, and my time BNI GEMS has been so fruitful. I learned about the gaming industry.
Well, there you are.
And about,
which you otherwise wouldn't get a chance, right?
Exactly. It's so fascinating. And then I even went to this printing factory and saw everything. And you don't get to see that all the time. Media, sure, because you create brand videos and commercials.
That's what you do, right? Professionally.
Exactly.
But then you meet people from so many different walks of life. We were at an event yesterday, we were training, we're right now in the phase of where we transition our leaders every 6 months. And I met a lady who is into farming. Now, we live in a place where you don't meet a lot of farmers. If you're in another part of the world, then farming could be a common thing. She said, yes, I'm into farming. I am a foodie, I enjoy, so I have an interest. So here is somebody I could relate to. So I was asking her, okay, so what kind of produce do you grow and how did you end up in that industry? Guess what? She's a CA by profession, chartered accountant. She was passionate about, eco, green and all of that. And 2 years ago, she started this whole new venture in farming. She's got a place in Awir. She's looking at expanding and setting up another facility in Abu Dhabi. And that conversation itself, became so interesting. And as we were talking, somebody who is a restaurateur happened to walk by, and I said, hey, meet Bhavna. And they said, yeah, we know each other. So that's a small world, but the fact is, you got a restaurateur, they obviously are looking at produce and somebody who can, and here is somebody who does that. So when you're in that circle, meeting all these different kind of people, it's fascinating, and you just connect the dots, and then you start helping each other, and the next thing you know is everybody is, generating referrals, opportunities, and having fun at the same time.
Completely. It's a great ecosystem.
It is.
You can get referrals from there, but you can also get great suppliers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so far, and lifelong connections too.
Oh yeah, these referrals, these relationships stay on. People move on, or people, the chapter is there, people will come and go, absolutely. But the relationships are there to stay. You ask me, I've been doing this for 21 years. Now, we have 1,500 plus active members today. But if you ask me, over these 21 years, we've probably seen maybe about 5,000 or 6,000 people come and go. And you build a relationship with these people. Oh yeah, it's just, time flies, you don't realize it, but when you look back and say, okay, here was somebody you probably first met about 5 or 10 years ago, and this is what they were doing, and that sticks, especially if they've touched you in some way or the other. So yeah, the relationships stay, absolutely.
Bijay, you've seen many BNI chapters around the world. What makes a chapter like BNI GEMS strong and successful? It's
the core value of lifelong learning and building relationships. We're just talking about relationships, yes. Right? What makes a chapter strong? If you look at our chapters, we have chapters out there which have been around for a long, long time. You know, if we've been around for 21 years, we have chapters which are 21 years old. We have chapters which are 19 years old, 18 years old, 17 years old. And these are really solid, strong, big chapters. Now, when you go into one of these chapters, and they're pretty large chapters, you'll see they still have members who've been around for a long time. Now, when they first launched, you know, while they 70 or 80 or 90 members? No. They launched like any other chapter, you know, at about 25 or 30. But the core members have stayed on, and then more have joined. So if anybody's listening to this from a chapter which is young, or, you know, BNI GEMS, for example, it's stay in there for as long as you can, build the relationships, go deeper into the relationships. And the more you do that, the more, and you know, you're there to generate referrals and opportunities. Now, there may come a point in time where you think, I know everybody in my chapter, but it's not about that. If you are proactive, your business continues to grow, you're meeting new people every day. Just because we know each other and we see each other every week does not mean that's it, you know. We're accountable to each other. 10 years on, we may still know each other, but we are at top of the mind for each other, and that's how we start, you know, helping each other. If you say, I know it all, I know everybody, and I'm now gonna sort of phase out, sooner or later that also dies away. So if you want to be successful in BNI, if you want to be a successful chapter, a strong chapter, keep everybody on. And the most important thing, while you're doing all of this, yes, it's all very structured. It may sound a bit rigid at times, but figure out a way to have fun. You know, when people wake up early in the morning, if you're a morning chapter, once a week, yes, the business is there, but they got to look forward to come to the chapter, right? That's the day when they like meet everybody. So have fun, follow the system, keep it simple. Don't get into politics and all that sort of stuff. Build relationships and you'll be fine.
I love that advice. Finally, Bijay, what message would you like to share with the BNI GEMS chapter?
It was one piece of advice I would do to GEMS members is, well, actually, there are a lot of things, but I think it's about stay in this for the long term. I relate something like BNI to call it your business gym. Why does somebody go to the gym, right? So either they want to get fit or they want to stay fit. If you are new, then learn all the tools. We have a lot of things, there are a lot of people who can help. Master the art and master the whole science of figuring out all these tools, and become what I like to call a master connector, right? And then once you're good at it, once the business starts flowing, it's staying fit, keeping your business fit. And what does it mean, or what does it require? It's simple, right? Have a routine. Make sure you turn up, you know. So we have all the different, processes, but attendance is critical. Continue giving your time, engage with members, have your antenna on all times when you're out there, because you just don't know who you're gonna meet and what connection you're gonna make. So just stay switched on. It's not like I'm gonna be you switch on for a few hours and then you switch off. It becomes a way of life. Look at this as a way of life. Look at this as your extended family, and you'll be just fine.
I love how you mentioned that it's a way of life.
It is.
It's a gym, because you don't go to the gym one time and see results right away. It's how much effort you're willing to put in, and that consistent effort that really matters.
Yeah, that's the key to this. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. The easy is just keeping it consistent. You know, it's a process. Follow the process and you'll be fine.
True. Thank you so much for coming onto the BNI
You're welcome.
GEMS Talk. It was such a privilege.
Thank you, Victoria.